Did you know that stormwater is a major threat to the health of Puget Sound? Today, we are going to learn about what a community engagement worker and a graphic designer does, and how we need them to find and implement stormwater solutions.
Describe your job.
Well, my name is McKenna, and I'm a community engagement worker and graphic designer. The way that I would describe my job is that it is to get people informed and involved in the projects that shape the places where they live or work or visit. I love combining visuals and written content to tell clear stories about things that are often so technical that it prevents people from understanding the forces that shape our communities. Like maybe before the pandemic, you might have seen me or my teammates in your neighborhood at local fairs and festivals. We talk to lots of people about projects in their neighborhoods, like transportation projects or projects that affect natural resources like water. I love telling stories about engineering topics and super dry government processes that feel vibrant and clear and relatable so that more people feel empowered to engage in those decisions that change the communities where we live.
What problems are you solving in your role?
An example that comes to mind is, let's imagine that there's a creek in your neighborhood, and some parts of the creek might be visible to you, and other parts might flow underground underneath things like roads and buildings. Sometimes, when the creek is underground, maybe it flows through a really big pipe called a culvert, and that culvert might be maintained and owned by your local government. So my job in that scenario would be to make sure that you know if the culvert needs to be repaired or replaced, that you know about the work that's happening to the culvert, why it's important, and how you can share your input. And so basically I help the project teams collect all of that public feedback and design the project so that it meets many needs, including environmental responsibility and community concerns.
How do you help others / the community?
I get to design visuals that pair with written content to tell clear stories and messages, and sometimes to inspire you to change your behavior. An example of this that comes to mind is a recent campaign I worked on for the city of Snoqualmie. The puzzle we set out to solve was, how do we encourage people to make small decisions that add up to a big impact on the health of our local waterways? So the way that we set out to create something graphic, like a visual identity for the city of Snoqualmie stormwater campaign, is that we start with a lot of research and a lot of listening and talking with people. And that includes stormwater professionals like engineers and scientists, and it also includes members of the community like you. So we'll talk with our clients about the goals of the campaign, we'll talk about the target audiences, the communities that we're seeking to reach, and we ask a lot of questions about the needs and the interests of those people, about the type of style and look and feel of the campaign. And then we spend some time writing up those ideas, and I'll work with my team to put together what's called a creative brief, really outlining those big ideas that we're striving to accomplish. Then we get to do something really fun. We get to explore inspiration. And I love this phase of the project because we get to go to Pinterest and Instagram, TikTok, we get to go to bookstores and libraries, gather all the inspiration that we can. And then it goes into a development phase. So we're working in paper and we're working on the computer to develop visual concepts that align with all of those goals and the needs of the communities that we found out about at the beginning.
What first inspired you to choose your career path?
I've always been really interested in the factors that help people feel like they belong. In college, I studied how race and socioeconomic class inform our sense of belonging in inside spaces like cafeterias and dorms, and outside spaces like hiking trails and ski slopes. And at that time, I was also working as a carpenter for my college's facility services team. And the team was so kind to me and taught me so much because I was completely untrained at the beginning. But that experience also really made me curious about the way that characteristics like gender and race and class inform our paths in life.
How is success defined in your role?
To me, success in my job is when people who have been historically or currently underrepresented or actively excluded from the civic engagement process, including people with disabilities, queer people, Black and Indigenous people, and other people of color, when they feel like they belong in the stories and spaces that I support and that they are equitably represented.
What could you do to explore that career?
I'd say one of the most important things you can do is to get involved in your community. So write to your representatives, attend your local town halls, get involved and volunteer with a local organization that serves people in your area. And then the other thing I would say is developing really active, deep listening skills. And a way you can do that is by asking friends or family members, like your grandmother or maybe your aunties, to tell you about their lives growing up. And maybe you approach that with a really open mind, open heart, you take notes, and ask some good follow-up questions. You never know what you'll learn.
As you can see, it takes a lot of people to make an impact on the issue of stormwater in the Puget Sound. You just learned about how McKenna contributes to stormwater solutions as a community engagement worker and a graphic designer. What skills or passions do you have that you might be able to bring to the table to help solve the stormwater challenge?